If you're recording a person who sings and plays an instrument, a stringed instrument in their lap, sometimes these folks are not comfortable overdubbing. The only way they can really get a good performance is to play and sing at the same time. But as a recording engineer, you might want to maintain a lot of separation between the vocal and the instrument, the guitar, ukulele, mandolin, banjo, because you might want to be able to overdub, replace, add effects, do whatever to the tracks independently, even adjust their volumes separately without affecting the other one. So even though the simplest and most straightforward technique is one mic right in the middle of everything, or a coincident array right in the middle of everything, here's a technique where you can record the vocal and the guitar or other instrument at the same time, with the mics fairly close together, as they would have to be, and still get good separation between the two tracks. The secret is to use figure-8 mics. Figure-8 mics, because of the laws of physics and the way they're designed, have a distinct pickup pattern with a very strong null, or area of minimum pickup. Here's the vocal mic, and if you picture a balloon coming out of the front that represents the sensitivity of the front of the mic, another balloon comes out of the back that represents the rear sensitivity, but this axis in between those two balloons has very low sensitivity. It's a null. And this mic is also configured as a figure-8, and so in this case we'll have the balloon of sensitivity pointed at the instrument and the null pointed at my mouth, my voice. We'll try an old Hawaiian song called Papalina Lahi Lahi. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's our recording. Now, most of this is just the blather that went on before we started, but here we have the actual recording that we captured. 1, 2, 3, 4. I probably wouldn't buy the record, but that's what it sounded like in the room, so that's pretty reasonable. Now let's try soloing the different tracks. If we solo the guitar, wow, the vocal sounds like it's in the next room. And the same if we solo the vocal. The instrument is way back there, isn't it? So now let's consider the possibility that we hate that guitar part. We think it should have an ukulele part. If we had put one mic in front of both the vocal and the instrument, or we'd used a coincident pair, we'd have about equal level of vocal and guitar in the microphone, and so when we tried to replace the guitar, you'd still hear it. But now we have pretty good separation between the vocal and guitar. So we can select an input. Let's use the guitar mic. That was the left channel of input 3. And we'll set that to record, and we'll call that the ukulele track. And we'll also need to turn off the speakers so you won't get to hear the playback, because it'll be in my headphones. Now we should have an ukulele overdub. Let's turn the speakers back on and see what it sounds like. Okay, now if we mute the guitar, we've replaced the guitar with the ukulele. And let's hear how it sounds at the end. Well, you can barely hear the guitar in there, excuse me, you can barely hear the guitar in there. So if it's a little bit too much, because we're hearing the guitar and the vocal mic right here, so most recording software would give you a way to lower the volume of everything that's not the vocal. You know, you can it's called using a volume envelope, and so that would do a pretty good job of getting rid of the little bit of guitar when there's no singing. And if it's a critical project and you really want it to be perfect, you can go in and perform this function in between breaths practically. It's one of the wonderful things about recording digitally is this kind of flexibility. So let's hear it one more time. Pretty terrible ukulele playing, but no guitar. So, there's a demonstration of using figure-8 mics to isolate vocal and instrument in a situation where they're both being played at the same time. I hope you find that useful.